guys. Once again, we're back. This is Code of Conduct. I'm Stephen Belafonte. We have obvious Willie D, the triple OG, legend in the house. We got JoJo Capone, one of the best to ever do it. And we got our special guest right now, Snow Billy. I want to call him Super Blood for getting, hit up twice in a very vital place and being here to tell his story.
Right. Shout it out.
Okay, perfect. So, listen, pleasure. Thanks for taking the time out to come on the show. And man, you got one hell of a story. And I kind of want to just get into it because it's I don't know how much time we have or how much time you have, but I wanted to kick it off and for you to give everybody kind of a rundown of kind of where you grew up. What your life was when you were a youngster. Were you raised in the hood, or would you live in a good neighborhood, what's your nationality, and kind of segue into when you got into being a Blood.
All right, well, I come from out of Brooklyn, the Bedford-Stuyvesant section. Tompkins Avenue, Tompkins Projects, Marcy Projects, Sumner Projects, Roosevelt Projects. That's where I was raised at and grew up at. My mother's from Roosevelt Projects. My father's from Tompkins. And be mindful, I got a bullet in my head and I got shot in my spinal cord. So my speech is going to be off a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So try to follow me. I grew up in the Bedford-Stuyvesant section. And at a young age, I had a cousin. Well, I have a cousin named Shotti Gold. And he was down with this big drug crew out of my neighborhood. And I got down with them at a young age. And the two main, leaders and enforcers just came home. I was with them since I was like 14, 13 years old. You know what I'm saying? And I caught an attempt murder when I was younger. And that's what led me to go to Little Rock, Arkansas. And that's how I became Blood.
Who introduced you to the Blood gang?
My cousin.
Okay. And how old were you?
Big Blood. He dead right now. He got murdered. He got murdered about 9 years ago. Rest in peace to him.
Yeah.
I was about 14 years old.
Right. And at this time, are you going to school at this time? Or are you just in the streets? Or what's going on with you?
Well, I was in the streets. I was on a run. That's how I got down to Little Rock, because I was on a run for attempted murder in New York. And my mother sent me down to Little Rock with my aunt. You know what I'm saying? So my aunt, she's supposed to have been like a wealthy lady. But when I got to Little Rock, she wasn't. You know what I'm saying? We was under the oppression, because, when I got down there, being from New York, we thinking like she's living good. She had a few cars, she had a nice house. But when I got down there, all that money her husband had vanished. And, she was back in the trenches with I had 8 cousins. They was all Bloods. So when I got down there, I didn't even know that they was Bloods till I got down there. And When I got down there, I became Blood. I was initiated by my cousin. And I became Highland Park Paru.
Now, when you got in there with your cousins, and you got in the trenches with your cousins, how long did it take for them to break you in as far as like full-fledged gang member?
Well, at I don't know if you're familiar with the whole HBO Banging in Little Rock.
Yeah.
You familiar with that series?
Yeah.
Okay, I had a few cousins that's involved in that series right there. But at 15 years old, I was already heavy. I was heavy in the streets in Little Rock already at 15. Mm-hmm. I was damn near a full-fledged all the way gangbang at that point.
And at what point did you take the show on the road? You say, okay, I think I've grown out of Little Rock. I'm gonna make my move. Did something push you out of Little Rock to get you back up top?
No, I was on a run for the case down there, and I got arrested. I beat the case in Little Rock and got extradited back to New York to fight the attempt murder in New York. And then I got 2 to 6 years, and I went to juvenile jail.
Where'd you go in New York? What jail did you go to?
Spofford Juvenile. That's a juvenile detention center in Spofford, Hunts Point, New York, the Bronx.
Yeah, it's Gladiator School. So what was that like? Give everybody who's not familiar with Spofford. I'm from New York, so I'm familiar with it. But give everybody what it was like you going into Spofford.
Oh man, well, Spofford, at that time, man, a lot of famous people from New York passed through Spofford. Mike Tyson, such names, a lot of notable street guys. But Spofford, even at that time in the early 90s, is a juvenile prison, and it's the worst because New York at that time only had one juvenile holding facility, not like they have now with all these different ones. We only had one, and that was 1221 Spofford Avenue, Hunts Point, New York. And it was you had everybody. You had kids 12 years old with triple homicides. You had the Chinese kids in there with double murders. Like, Spofford was the most, you from New York, so you know, Spofford is one of the most notorious juvenile jails in America.
Yeah.
In America, man, like, a lot of people, they hear Rikers Island, but they don't know about Spofford.
No, what I want you to do is I want you to actually break down, listen, I mean, you're on the run, you come back up to New York, you've been a juvenile down in, Little Rock. You've been in the streets. Now all of a sudden you hit.
I was in juvenile in Little Rock. We beat the case. New York came and got me, brought me back to New York. I got a 2 to 6 in New York. Came home 2 years later and turned 6 guys on my strip, which is gates between Marcus Garvey and True. I turned 6 of my closest friends over there, or Highland Park, Peru. There was no other Bloods in New York at the time. They only had face heads, Decepticons, low lives, and some fashionable gangs. They didn't have no Bloods or no Crips at that time.
Okay. Now my thing is, I want to know the transition from going to Little Rock, and how was that leaving New York, going to Little Rock, and then being involved in the California gang. And was it rivals in that neighborhood, or was it only Highland Park, Pyrus? You see what I'm saying? Because it's like, we know from the gang transition, it was due to the drugs. You know what I'm saying? So when the drugs came, then you had people leave their native towns and go outside of there where we all got family members and stuff like that. So when we watched Banging on Little Rock in Chicago, it kind of made us feel like, how did the Crips come from LA and the Bloods come from LA, make it to Little Rock, but it was GDs and Vice Lords and Black P Stones in Little Rock as well. So I understood that the transition because myself has done it. You know what I'm saying? Like, every major city, like if I'm in New York, we in Connecticut, we in Baltimore, we in Jersey,
right?
You know what I'm saying? We in DC. So, and if I'm all the way down to Virginia. Now, if I'm in the Midwest, I'm in Milwaukee, I'm in St. Louis, I'm in Minnesota. You see what I'm saying? So
right, yeah, right. Minneapolis.
Yeah, Minneapolis. So it's like Arkansas right there by Memphis. So it was more so like a person from here go straight to Memphis before we went to Arkansas.
Right, but you had a lot of. See, what came was a lot of Crips came down to Little Rock. Down in Little Rock, we had a lot of people that came originally from the South and went out to LA back in the 50s and the 60s. Only thing, they migrated back home, and that's how the game culture flooded down there.
Yeah, like when you went to New York and went to Little Rock, was it only Bloods in that neighborhood? Like
And I'm from Highland Park. That's 12th Street. Yeah, but that vicinity is more blood dominated turf. But if you go 2 blocks down around the corner, you in Crip neighborhood.
Right. See,
it wasn't hard. It wasn't hard to be at a convenience or be at one of the little mom and pop delis and see a Crip roll up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was more vicious down in Little Rock than a lot of places where even the big sets was established at. Because it's a little town that's so much violence breeding from there, from the gang culture. We was like the murder capital for like 2-3 years down there.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, we down there deep. We down there. I had my share of Little Rock. I had to get out of there.
And you know, when I got to New York, there wasn't no bloods. When I came home from the juvenile detention, and I got on my set in Brooklyn, my homies ain't know what this was, what I was doing, and I brung them niggas into this.
Did you turn people out while you was in jail? You turned people out while you was in jail? I'm saying, did you make a set in there? What happened?
No, because when I was in there, they only had guard bodies. They had the Zulu Nation, the Nietas, and I think a little bit of Latin Kings was starting. But they didn't have nobody but those, the 5%ers, Nietas, the Zulu Nation, and I think the Latin Kings. They didn't have no blood. I was the only blood, and you know, they didn't even know what Pyru was. These guys didn't know even what a Pyru was in New York when I was in the juvenile detention center. But when I came home, I got locked up again, and that's when I went to Rikers Island and became non-Trey. I converted over from a Highland Park Pyru and sided with my homie S.I., who started Billy Badass. I sided with him.
Hoke's brother, right?
Say it again?
Hoke's brother.
You talking about Hocus 4-5?
Yeah.
I don't know him. I don't know. S.I. from Staten Island. That's that's the godfather. That's the godfather, non-Trey gangster. He got killed in a shootout with the police about 5 years ago.
Okay, I thought you was talking about. What's Hoke's brother name? S1, I think.
S1.
Oh yeah, S1. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, I ain't familiar.
Nah, they sex money murder. His set is sex money murder.
I mean, we have a connection because, see, the Billies and the Blazers, they go together. They alliance. You understand me?
Yeah.
I can't go.
Is that all Staten Island? Is the Billies and Blazers all just Staten Island or what?
No.
Nah, they always like this. They would never break up.
No, I'm saying is that in Staten Island?
It can't be a Blazer without a Billy. Oh, in Staten Island?
Yeah, I'm saying is the Blaze and Billies only in Staten Island. That's what I'm saying.
No. They all over. They in Brooklyn, Queens. They all over.
Okay.
But see, that's where I argue where the New York sets went wrong at, because you can't trace the sets established in Little Rock and back home in the motherland of LA. Every set is from your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? If you from the jungle, you repping the jungle set. You ain't repping the set that's down in Compton. See, in New York, you got different sets. You got different individuals from different boroughs on one set. So it's always a conflict of interest.
You have a relationship with OG Mac?
No.
Yeah. Have you ever met him?
No, I never even met OG Mac.
So at this stage of the game, the guy that founded Treyway has no power whatsoever, you know, in the streets. Or is that accurate or what?
He's dead. He passed on. He passed on like 5 years ago.
I thought OG Mac was still alive. I thought he was. OG Mac is in jail. But
that's what I'm saying. Oh, OG Mac. I thought you was talking about S.I.
S.I. and OG Mac were co-founders of the 9 Trey, right? I thought they were co-founders.
Right. Yeah, right. they S.I. the co-founder. OG Mac came on, but OG Mac said it's more 183rd, where he from in the Bronx. He more established the Millers. You know, his set is the 183rds and up there, you know, with Dizzy and them. But yeah, he was with S.I. But OG Mac is like, he's not what everything he did, even though he started something in prison in New York, it was all felonious.
What he said,
he didn't do it.
OG Mac lied about saying he got the blessings from T. Rogers. So it was
Right.
a lie from Jump Street.
Right.
So he lied and act like he got the and if he got the okay from T. Rogers, they would have been Black P Stones. So he wouldn't even been calling himself a Blood. He would have been still a Black P Stone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when T. Rogers wound up had to do an interview about this because it had spiraled out of control and was making it seem like he co-signed it, and people wasn't jacking that. You know what I'm saying? So T. Rogers did an interview with Felon or Feds magazine. I think it was Feds. Yes. He did an interview with Feds magazine and spoke on it. Said he never met him, he never talked to him or nothing. So that's how everything just.
Right. So the whole establishment
was riled up by that time. You know what I'm saying? And then a few cats in Brooklyn was like, well, since everybody want to be Bloods, we just gonna be Crips. So now you got GDs in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, we over here trying to be in the birthplace of gangbanging here in Chicago. We trying to stop that and make it growth and development. You know, we trying to...
Exactly. Hey, yo, you know what? I've been supporting that movement since 2006, man.
Right, so we trying to see, they dismantled us. They sent all the leaders to the feds, broke up the families. So now, of course, in Chicago, you got the violence that we have because it's the blind leading the blind.
So Hoover.
Yeah, so they just granted Larry, Thursday. They just granted him.
He coming home.
Yeah, so he'll be coming home. So
right.
And it keeps being questionable because he's been in prison for 47 years. You know what I'm saying? So now that make people say, well, would a younger generation even listen to him? And it's not so much that if they gonna listen, we gonna listen. So when we listen, we gotta pass it down what we try, what how this to be.
Right.
Because ain't nothing tough and ain't nothing
Right.
Somebody that you saying your enemy that's not your enemy for real, and then you kill a baby in the midst of that. So you got a lot,
you're right.
So he has a lot of support from religious leaders like the Honorable Minister Farrakhan and others, because it was spoke on. It was like the Panthers all over again, because it was, we had a chart, that we had to abide by, which taught a child that didn't have a parent. The Gangster Disciples had a whole blueprint. It's a whole blueprint.
Code of conduct.
Right, it's the whole blueprint that we were supposed to follow. It ain't have nothing to do with us killing each other. You know what I'm saying? So once they dismantled the organization, because that was the difference from us and Bloods and Crips, because they were still considered a street gang and we was considered organized crime. So that's why it's like, damn, we couldn't even throw up what we represent in a video or speak on what we represent, because we don't know if the Fed's about to come knock on our door and throw us in the RICO Act. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it seems as if the GDs and the Black P Stones just disappeared, and Vice Lords disappeared, Latin Kings disappeared, and all you heard from this point on was Bloods and Crips. And that was because it was like they was a street gang. We organized crime. We couldn't speak on nothing. That's why you never really got stories from us or nothing. Even with American Gangster, BET, all they gave you was Larry Hoover, Jeff Fort, and Fluky Stokes. But we seen countless of people, on BET,
right,
from Nicky Barnes and them, all their stories. But we got 1,000 Nicky Barnes, not without the ranting, of course, but we got 1,000 hustlers from Chicago like that we couldn't really speak on because we wasn't raised that way. We always was taught to close our mouth, keep our mouth shut. So we never, that's why even it's hard right now for Throwback Thursday pictures to post those, because you got to really show that, look, I was in every era. You see what I'm saying? But it's you can do that now, but throughout my life, we couldn't do that.
That's right.
So, so now it's like, why people bragging about the gangs is disgusting to us because we birthed that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So Chicago, by us birthing,
I feel the same way. Like
we don't have the same mind frame as everybody else and the new rappers and everything, and they doing it for a sport. So to us, when they doing it to us, it's like it's mockery. You know what I'm saying? Because they really don't know what it derived from. And then by you being in a street gang, anybody can be in a street gang. We had laws and policies that we had to abide by. You just couldn't say you was a GD or a Blackstone. You know what I'm saying? You had to really come from the turf. And majority of the people that was hustlers and wanted to they had to join the gangs or the organizations for protection. So a lot of the dudes be cowards and they just join the gang for protection. Just like these rappers, they gonna speak on your gang set just to get sales in their music. So I watched all that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't gravitate to a dude if he say, "Oh, I got GDs around." My name in 1,000 songs from all kind of rappers, but I kind of looked at a lot of them sideways because I kind of knew it was smoke and mirrors for real. You trying to get some album sales? That's how I looked at it.
Awesome protection.
Yeah, or the protection. Other than that, neither one of them said, "Hey, I want to donate to the cause."
Yeah, or some.
To the brothers and young sisters that's locked up that might need some help for their bonds and stuff. And that was what I spewed to the brother from the Bronx about the song with Rick Ross when he put out with the Larry Hoover Big Meech record. You know, it's like if you're gonna do something to sell a song, you know, for your better benefit, donate to the brothers, you know what I'm saying, family, and help his attorney
situation.
And all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hell yeah, you right about that.
Snow, talk about your ascension into the gang, into the 9 Trey gang, and how you came to meet 6ix9ine.
Me and my co-defendant, we got locked up for an armed robbery and a home invasion. And we got sent off to Rikers Island. When I got to Rikers Island, at that time you had C-74. It's called Adolescents That War. It's called the 4 building. That's where all the adolescents go to from 16 to 18. You had 2 houses. You had 2 main, you had 2 upper, and you had 4 main. 4 main was a Latino house. 2 upper was the black house. So in 4 main, you had all the Latin Kings, Nietas, Montadans, the Puerto Ricans, the Cubans, all the Latinos was in the 4 main building. And all the blacks, like the Bloods, the 5%ers, was in 2 upper. So they sent me to 4 main. And I caught an assault charge in 4 main 5 seconds into the housing. From there, I got sent to the Bing. The Bing on Rikers Island at that time was called you had one side for fighting, one side for stabbing and cutting. I went to the cutting side. I got about 4 months for that. And that's where I met at Saga. And they didn't know what Paru was in the Bing. They didn't know about Highland Park Paru. Because they were stuck on the New York set, like the 183rds, the Donald Goon. They didn't know nothing about down south or west coast blood sets. So when I introduced myself, when you come into the Bing, you gotta, roll the red carpet out, say who you is and what set you rep and everything. So when I shouted my set out on my entry into the Bing, they didn't know what that was. Highland Park Paru, they didn't know. So I landed next door to SI. And SI was like, "Yo, homie, man, come on board with the Phillies." And, I'm like, I'm Highland Park by heart. I came into this shit from the street, really putting in work with this set. This ain't no jail situation. But me and that side, it took me literally about 3 months to come on board. I didn't come right on board, but then he blessed me into the Billies, gave me my chucks. And from there, I came home and I started the 9 Trey Gangsters. And it was lit from there. We converted everybody who was Highland Park over to 9 Trey, and it was history from there.
How did you get introduced to 6ix9ine?
A little homie of ours, Shotti, little homie, is a little homie that Shotti brung in the whip. And when I say in the whip, he made him blood. He gave me this kid a lot of years ago because the kid was, everywhere. So I was more stable financially to take care of the little homie. So I brung him in. So he was like my little homie. Even though Shotti is my little homie, this Shotti little homie. So he met 6ix9ine and brung 6ix9ine to the set. We was all in the truck one day. He came up the block, brung him up there. This was his homie. This was his friend. We older than these kids. You know, these are little homies. His homie. That's how he met 6ix9ine and brung him to the set. And from there, we took it to the top. Like, you know, we don't hang out with them.
Wait, I wanted to ask you something, not to cut you off, but before we get into all that real quick, I just wanted to address the stuff that people hear about, like Shotti and stuff, because I think Shotti's an intricate part of what kind of happened to you, and everybody knows, Shotti, and obviously you are a person that has been around him in many situations. What is Shotti's thing? Some people say, oh, he's just like a clown. Some people say he's gangster. Some people say, they're like, who is Shotti as a person?
Shotti is a gangster. Shotti is a gangster. He's loyal, but Shotti got tired. And when a person get tired, they are liable to do anything. When he wanted out, he was willing, not towards me, but towards Harv and others, to push them away, to get away from everything. You know what I mean? And being that he seen the opportunity to seize, and this was gonna put him out of everything, he was willing to do the grimy shit he did. But overall, Shotti is a loyal dude, man. And he's a gangster, hands down, bar none,
Yeah, so essentially when you say...
And he's very intelligent, but he let the street supersede his intelligence. He's very smart. He's Muslim. So he went to like a private Muslim school. So he's very smart guy, man. He's not a dummy. He's a wild boy, man. He's just not, he's a wild boy, man. Like, he's into everything, he's a raw boy. He's, this is what he do. He's not, he's not business orientated. So he tried to get business orientated, but by that time, you already did too much to try to recover.
When he brought 6ix9ine to you, what did you think?
No, he didn't.
He didn't
bring 6ix9ine to me. Shotti didn't bring 6ix9ine to me.
Who brought
Shotti was with me. Shotti was with me when his little homie brung 6ix9ine. We was all inside a Tahoe truck. You see that red Tahoe truck with the red bandana?
Okay.
We was in that truck when the little homie brung 6ix9ine on the block. He brung him to the set. We was all already on the set when he came there.
Okay. So what did you think of 6ix9ine then, and what do you think of him now, considering everything that has transpired over the last 24 months or so?
Well, at the time, then you came to the set, he was more so like a good kid. Like, everything that you see now was never him then. He was like, yo, I need someone to stay. I do music. Check me out. Go to YouTube. And by this time, we already got links to the industry. So it's not going to be hard to put the label on him and take him there. So, he's showing us all these YouTube videos, what he got going on in the industry. So we like, all right, cool. We got the studio in the dog pound. We got the whole dog pound laced up. So it was like, we got somewhere for him to stay. We could do the music. So it was like, fuck it, we gonna give him a shot. He a little homie. He like, all right, we gonna give him a shot, homie. Like, other homies wasn't approving of it, but ain't nothing they can say but sit back and watch it go down. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it was when he came to the set. It wasn't like, he was not who he is now. This was not, none of this stuff. I watched all this behavior take place on Rikers Island while I was shot up. All this transformation into this trolling. He was always quiet and just ready to make music. That's it.
Who else would have been in his place before he even came? You see what I'm saying? Like, was it some setup to where y'all was putting it out there that y'all was about to start a label, or y'all needed an artist to represent y'all clique, or like, how did that go? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we had like, everybody rap. Everybody rap in the neighborhood. So we had a few artists, but nobody worthy to really put the marketing on. Everybody rap. We got Mel Matrix. We got 1,000 rappers around. We got everybody in the dog pound rap. Like, we got like 9 rappers. We got a studio, but we didn't have no one that was like, that we was pushing a really badass record label with. No one that we decided to come up with the name Treyway and put the stamp on it. Everybody was just rapping, but
who came up with that name? Who came up with Treyway?
SI came up with the name Treyway.
Is he the one that put a book out? Is that who put? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to ask you something real quick. You just mentioned Mel Murda, and obviously Mel Murda was a rapper, and you know he's connected with Jim Jones. I saw that you just put some stuff up with Jim Jones. What is your relationship? Because what was the fallout, or what is the thing that obviously something happened with you and Jim Jones, and Mel or whatever? What's the dynamics? I don't know.
All right. Well, Mel always secretly and confident, and I don't, like right now, it's not really no secret that Jim was always scared of me. Like, yo, big homie, Jim be nervous when he come on a set, you around, or it was, he always, Mel, that's my drop. So he gonna always keep it real with me, like, yo, big homie Jim. So I'm like, how you just go portray this gangster image in front of your audience without putting a disclaimer sign in, but behind closed doors, you scared to come around a nigga, the big homie, when he on the set. You can't be fucking with the little homie, and you portraying his image, and that's not true, man. So that's where the conflict of interest with me and Jim came in places, because Mel told me several times, like, yo, blood, that nigga Jim scared to be around you, my nigga. And I'm like, so I'm not a person to be scared to be around, bro. I'm a human. So I took that offensive, bro. I took that highly offensive. Like a lot of times, Jim, you came around, that's my hood. You left there in one piece. And Melly ain't had no say-so on that. So, at the end of the day, man, like, he just did bad. So it ain't nothing personal. It's just one question. You heard the tapes, right? Man. So, but you heard the tapes with when Jim was talking to Mel, and it sounded. I'm sure everybody else thought the same thing. It sounded like, Jim was kind of giving, kind of talking to Mel like he was calling the shots. I mean, because Mel, right? Let me tell you something with Mel and Jim. A lot of times, like, I had one situation where I had to calm Mel down because Mel was like, yo, big homie, I ain't leaving this rap game broke. He like, yo, I kill Capo. And I'm like, my nigga, you can't do that, because you can't blame Capo for how your career turned out. Capo put you in a position, whether or not you got assistance to help you go further with that position, or you did it on your own. He's not the fault that you couldn't do what you needed to do, because the door was open for you. So now you angry because years done blew by and the money ain't adding up. You tired now. I've been putting in this work, catching all this heat. So Mel, on several occasions, felt like knocking Jim off.
Now, I'm going to speak on something with Jim, right? I cuffed him like a baby. I'm going to speak on something with Jim. I cuffed him like a baby brother. And he was a 6'9" to me. You know what I'm saying? So
okay, right.
So my thing was, I'm gonna give you some game, man. You know what I'm saying, and let you know that the game part ain't what you really trying to be about. You know what I'm saying? You need to focus on music. Me, him, and Snags was running around. Him and Cam was having they little riffs or whatever. So it'd be a lot of broken promises. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll tell you, like, okay, Joe, we about to go over here to Koch. We about to get this money. We gonna get these Ferraris and all this and that. But basically making you or telling you to stop doing what you're doing to lock in with him to make his whatever look good or better or get the credibility that he needed. But when it's time to reciprocate, when bills and all that come up and come around, it's like he was, I don't know if to say he was being stingy. So I can see when Mel was like, hold on, I'm gonna rock his top. You know what I'm saying? Because at one point, with myself, turned it up on him. You know what I'm saying? In True Life and Saigon, and it was a green light on him. You know what I'm saying? It was to the point where it was like, this ain't what he want for real, and I know that. And I felt like I was bullying on a defenseless person. So I didn't really, you know, so my thing was I just wanted to kind of show him like I'm not the one to play with, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like I've been in your mother's house, you know, I caught a little flu or something. Your mother basically nursed me back. So I'm really cuffing him like a little brother and telling him they pressing him all over the country. You know what I'm saying? Kidnapping him in Chicago. I'm getting him out of that. Pressing him in LA. He ain't good in New York, Jersey, nowhere. So it's like I'm really dealing with a lot of stuff, trying to tell people like this not who he portraying to be is not him. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Then the guy that was from Tab that pushed the blood in the men or whatever, he was a rat. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a lot of stuff that was just bad on it. So and why he couldn't understand to focus on music. It made me feel like because I'm not allowing him to really go with this gang aura, he was upset.